welcome back to my channel. It's Dark Thorn the Oracle here for another video. Today's video is going to be on our 2020 year in review for the Twin Flame community. Burnt myself already. So we're going to start with lighting of the candle and smudging and cleansing this area. To get rid of any residual energies from any of my past readings and my last clients. And cleanse my energy and your energies. All right, now we're ready to get started. So today we're looking at 2020 in review. 2020 in review for the Twin Flame community. We're trying to understand what it was that we were supposed to understand on a deeper level than just the reading that I previously did on past, present, and future. So 2020 in review, we'll start with my Enchanted Love deck. Let's shuffle. And a card just flew off. So I'll do that deck last. Start with this deck. And we'll pull a card for each month. All right. Next we'll go with the map deck and get a card for each month. $12 on top, 12 on top, 12 on top, 12 on top. Well, Spirit decided we're not doing it that way. We're gonna have to shuffle. So, with that being said, let's see. January. February. Don't be triggered by the messiness of the cards. February, April, May. June, July, August, September, October, November, December. Go through the Twin Flame cards. There's going to be something fundamental in the Twin Flame cards. I don't know if y'all heard that, but I just heard something. So January, February. January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. And last, we'll do the Shapeshifters card. Since that one wanted to have a card just fly off the top for January. January. February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, okay, so none of these, it's in this half then. October, November, December. Put the rest of the cards back. Whew. Sizzling with energies today. All right. So let's start with good old January. What is it that the Twin Flame Collective was supposed to get and grasp for January of 2020? What was the reason? Signals. All right. So starting out in January of 2020 this year, what we were supposed to grasp was signals, signs and syncs. So we're supposed to become more in tune with the signs and syncs that spirits and our ancestors sends us, getting more in tune with what's going on around us. What do numbers mean? What are our key signs that our twin flame is near, our twin flame is thinking about us, or we're close to our mission, or we're on the right path to our purpose? So signs and syncs have been coming in starting in January about what is your purpose. So, you know, what's your spirit animal? What flowers mean what to you? What do feathers mean to you? Different resonations, different signals and signs that are specific to you and your journey, specific to you and your twin, specific to you personally, that not even your twin would get as their signal, but might necessarily see and know as your signal. That started out in January. So with that came the feeling of being stuck in the mud. That's the whole reason that the signals had to start being sent in January, is because we had this stuck in the mud feeling, like we didn't know what we were doing, we didn't know where we were going, we didn't know what our purpose was, we didn't know if we were doing what we were supposed to be doing in life. And this is right before the COVID attacks hit. This is right before COVID became a major thing. You started feeling like, well, maybe I'm not in the right profession. Maybe I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Maybe I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, but not in the way that I'm supposed to be doing it. Maybe there's something different that I'm supposed to know, supposed to do. For some of you, this is when your sacred space got attacked. Okay, you started to develop new understanding of religion, a new understanding of your spiritual beliefs. You started to question certain things. So for me and many other people that grew up in the church, grew up in Christianity or Islam, Buddhism, Hinduism, what have you, those signs and sinks around having questions about God. What does God really want us to do? What does God look like? What does God mean by this? And really delving into the text or having a different understanding of what certain scriptures mean, certain passages mean, that really started in January because we weren't able to actually grasp the signs and sinks we were supposed to grasp if our foundation of our sacred space was not shaken up a bit. So this was the time that we really started to commune with divine, commune with God, commune with universe, spirit, source, ancestors, what have you, to understand what path we were supposed to be on, what it is that we were supposed to believe in. And this attracted wonderful news for us. This really set in motion everything else that's about to come for the 2020 reading. This really set everything else in motion as to what it is we're supposed to be understanding, how it is that we're supposed to be seeking answers, really, and what paths we're supposed to take and be on. That started in January. So sliding into the February, what were we supposed to understand? Respect. February was a challenge for us in learning respect. Respect for ourselves, respect for those around us, but mostly respect for ourselves, because we as humans oftentimes don't have much respect when it comes to ourselves, but we demand respect when it comes to ourselves, but we don't generally have it for ourselves. So this became a time where we had figured out that we don't need to accept any and everything from everyone. Okay, this is when we developed a fundamental understanding of, okay, I don't necessarily know exactly how I want to be treated, but I know this is not it. So that came with the feeling of tackling this mountain. What the mountain was, we weren't really sure because we were in this split energy. Do we want to stay in the job we are in, or do we want to go? But if we go, where do we want to go? Do we want to pursue this, or do we want to pursue that? What is our true passion in life? Okay. And that brought about this feeling of endings and goodbyes. Okay. Something was about to end, at least for right then. So for some of you that had already met your twin, that's when you and your twin first went into separation this year. For others of you, this is when you first figured out, I have to leave this job, or I have to walk out of the church right now. I have to spend some time alone with the Bible by myself. I have to spend some time away from my family for now. I have to cut off some friends right now. This is when you created that distance, or that distance was created on your behalf because you were in such disarray and such split energy about this mountain that you had to overcome. Those people, places, and things that weren't serving you at that time were separated from you. But that says for now. So it wasn't a permanent goodbye. They re-entered your life in a different way later on. However, at that time, it was a goodbye that needed to be held and needed to be put into effect. So this transitioned us into March. March was about the challenger. Now, if you remember, this is when COVID first hit a height. This is when COVID and its panic became a thing. And for some of you, that was the challenger, COVID. COVID was the challenger that sent you home. Yep, there's smoke coming from my candle right now. Smoke was, COVID wanted all the smoke, but COVID was the moment where challenges began. So this may have been challenges with your finances, challenges with your DM, challenges as far as you stepping into a place where you had to understand that this can't possibly be life. Life is not supposed to be this way. There's got to be another way for us to do this, because there's no way that this is going to be my life. The biggest challenge was finding your new normal. For some of you, this was your new normal without your twin flame being in communication. For some of you, this was a new normal because you came in communication with your twin flame for the first time, and you're like, whoa, what is this, and how am I supposed to act? What am I supposed to do? Yeah, but mostly your biggest challenger come March was finding your new normal. And a lot of you, this revolved around your twin flame. What am I supposed to do with this person? What is this person supposed to bring to my life? Why is this person here? And they really challenge the way you look at things and the way you see yourself. That's when you got an understanding that things could be great. Things could be amazing. And what you expected was this offer of something new, a new gesture, a new happiness of sorts. So while everything seemed to be going to hell in the outside world, your challenge was finding happiness despite the despair or the misery or the unhappiness, unsettlement, unrest going on around you. And this is when you developed your gifts, okay? This is when your gifts came into play. This is when you realize, okay, certain things aren't just a passion for me, there's a purpose to them. Certain things that I thought were nuances or one-offs are actually patterns. This is when you developed, for those of you who have sacred sight, sacred hearing, sacred knowing, claircognizant, clairvoyant, sentient feelings and visions and dreams and traveling in your dreams and such. That's when those things became aware to you that, hey, maybe this isn't just a coincidence. Maybe there's something to this. And maybe it is my twin that's bringing it out of me. And that is probably where, I'm not even say probably, that is definitely where there was a mishap, because your gifts weren't brought out by your twin. Your gifts were always there. Your twin just made it so your gifts were knowledgeable to you as a pattern. But your gifts were always there. But for some reason, many people equated their gifts with their twin. Your twin didn't bring your gifts out. Your gifts were always there. You just became more aware of them with your twin in your space. Okay? Or for some of you, with your twin out of your space, you became more aware of them. So moving into this April energy, let's see. You had a victory of sorts. Life was looking up. Things were happening positively in some arena of your life. It may not have been every arena, because it's fairly strange for every arena of your life to be going well at the same time. For some of you, this may have felt like the truth. Everything is going well. This is great. Okay? Spirit of place. You were learning the energies around you. You became cognizant and more aware of Mother Earth. You became more in tune with Father Sky. You became more aware and in tune with the Orishas. You became more in tune with the waters. You developed this sense of the spirit of the place that you were in. You were more in tune with nature and less in tune with the matrix reality of this world. You were more in tune with the way things were, and this was about learning divine timing. Everything happens in divine timing, and learning that patience that we spoke about before. Patience and slowing down and being in the moment really hit you right then. And we insert mentees and responsibility. So these may be people that came into your life and you felt like were mentors for you, and you ended up teaching them things. or vice versa, people that came into your life seeking out knowledge that you possessed. But you became into this position of authority where it was even more important for you to be in commune with nature and with the way things actually are, okay? With who God really is to you, with what certain things actually mean to you. This was that moment. Then we moved into May. So let's look at the energies for May. May, independence. You can live without pretty much anybody else. Any of those other people that you thought you can live without, whether that have been exes or toxic family members or, toxic pets, even toxic friends, toxic situations, without the job that you were in that you thought was going to last forever. And maybe you lost that job and you realize, hey, I can make life go on even without it. Or maybe you were in a position where you were like, well, maybe I can make this job work for me, because you were really at that time learning to follow the leader, follow your divine guidance at that time. And that's when you develop this energy of having these big goals, these big dreams, getting in touch with your passions that were at play. And you were listening and you were heeding wise counsel. You were listening to God, listening to your ancestors, listening to spirit, and understanding what it was that you were supposed to be doing. You suddenly had this grasp that my goals can be bigger than I ever thought they could be. I can want things that I never thought I could want. I could be in places that I never thought I would be in. And that energy was so overwhelming, and that sense of independence and happiness that you had. Then we moved into June. And this is what was the first presence of real disappointment when it came to your twin. For divine feminines, this may have been the disappointment that they went back to the karmic, or that they weren't always going to be there like you thought they were going to be, or that they could just up and leave and not say anything. Let's just sit in that energy for a second. You may have had these tiffs with them, but for the realness of the year, this was your first major disappointment. Maybe you saw something you didn't expect to see from them, or you heard something from them you didn't think they were going to say, or maybe this was the first real time where they ghosted you and you realized this isn't going to be a short ghost, this is going to be a long ghost. Or maybe this was the first moment where you realized they could come in and out of your life for their own personal gain. For divine masculines, this was realizing that their karmic could possibly be a karmic. Realizing that they weren't all that they thought they were or could be, and feeling like they weren't good enough. Realizing that everything didn't bow to their will when they thought it would. And we entered this feeling of a sad embrace. This person is clutching their legs and bent into the most solemn of fetal positions, crying. This is where the Twin Flame Collective was. And everyone in the Twin Flame Collective had this moment at least once in June, especially for those that were in separation. That feeling of hopelessness and loss as you went through the memories that you had with your twin, and the memories that you had of your life before, or the memories that you had with your karmic. This was just your memories in general, family, friends. You were going through your memories of all the disappointments, and all of your childhood treasures resurfaced, all the little happy moments that you had as a child resurfaced. And this is when your inner child work really reached a peak where you realized it needed to happen. Because all of your childhood friends, but all of your childhood demons came at the same time. This is when your inner child reared its head and said, hey, I didn't get parented correctly, but you're not parenting me either. So moving into July, what are we looking at? July, we develop a semblance of joy. Moving into shadow work and magic and happiness, moving into this energy of cleaning house, getting rid of those old energies, getting rid of things that no longer serve us, getting rid of those disappointments, getting rid of those expectations, getting rid of our ego. We're just sweeping the ego out back in July. And this is when we develop a higher vibration, okay? This is when we're rebalancing and recovering our lost magic. July. That's when that energy came into play. Then we moved into August. The realist. For a lot of divine masculines, especially, this is when they became a realist about their state of life, a realist about what it is that they wanted, a realist about the possibilities. Oh, what a world, what life could be. This is where we develop these peaks of joy, this essence of springtime where things are blooming, answers are flowing in, blessings are becoming more cognizant and aware, and this feeling that we can achieve great things. For divine feminines, this is when we were like, yep, starting that new business, yep, getting a new job, yep, I'm moving out of state, yep, I'm moving in a new city, yep, I'm gonna do new things with my life. For divine masculines, it's like, oh my God, my divine feminine's doing all these things. I can feel her greatness. I can feel her accomplishments. Maybe this is an opening point for me as well. This is when, for a lot of you that know your divine masculine at this time and y'all were in separation, your divine masculine was watching you. Or even if y'all were in pseudo union, your divine masculine was watching you like, wow, she's doing all these great things with her life. She's got all of these workings together. Even though divine feminines, we know we didn't have it all the way together. We still don't have it all the way together, but we portrayed enough in manifesting our happiness that those things became a manifestation for others. They became testimonies for others that maybe I can too. And for a large number of us, that affirmation was to our divine masculine. I can do it too. She's out here winning. I can win too. So then we move into September. Major tower moments, especially for the divine masculine. Divine feminine was feeling the offshoot of this because, again, mirrors, okay? Yearning for home. This is when the divine masculine was first hitting a moment of, I want to go home. I want that feeling of home. And I think I know where home is. I just got to figure out a way to get there. So for some of you, this was a time where your divine masculine was reaching out, but mostly he was in his head because this is what he's thinking about. He was thinking about union. All right. Whereas divine feminines was like, it's okay to be alone. Divine feminines were stepping into the energy of, it's all right for me to be alone. I can do this by myself. It's all right if my divine masculine never comes to me in this lifetime. The divine masculine would step into the energy of, I have to be with my divine feminine because that is where I feel home. Now, whether that be a friendship home or maybe that be a romantic home, your divine masculine was putting together, I need to find where home is and I need to stay in home. So then we moved into October. Learning trust. Learning that we can trust ourselves again. Learning that there's certain people in our lives that we actually can trust. Learning that we can trust ourselves to make decisions. We can trust ourselves to move on our own. We can trust ourselves to follow our passions without listening to the naysayers and the consequences of the world, because those things don't apply to us. Those things apply to those who believe that. If we trust in ourselves, if we trust in God, if we trust in divine, source, spirit, ancestors, what have you, if we trust in that energy, We can manifest anything. But at the same time, this is where the deep freeze hit. Because Divine was trying to get you to sit the heck down and listen to what Divine had to say. Because you needed to go back into your inner child energy and develop that playfulness and that happiness inside of yourself. And that is when the Divine Masculine started really working on his inner child. Whereas we see Divine Feminine started working on it back here. The Divine Masculine didn't really start working on it till right here. He may have subtly been working on it, but this is when it came to a head right here. This is when the Divine Masculine hit that energy of, I need to work on my inner child. And this is when the Divine Feminine stepped into the energy of, I'll show you who to trust. Both of those things got accomplished. Woohoo, claps in celebration for y'all. Both of those things got accomplished. The Divine Masculine sought deep in himself, where he was wounded, what happened in the past, how things could have been better, how he could have done differently. Divine Feminine learned that I can trust myself as long as I keep looking into source and to divine. I can trust my own decisions because they're backed by divine purpose and divine guidance. And in doing so, showed the Divine Masculine that the Divine Feminine is to be trusted because the Divine Feminine has a leader even bigger than herself. So then going into this month of November, celebration. But remember, like in the last reading, not too much celebration. Don't celebrate to the point where you forget to meditate again. You forget, because that's happened to us before this year. That's why we've learned patience and learned to follow the leader, Divine Feminines, because oftentimes when stuff starts going good again, we forget to do our rituals. We forget to leave our offerings. We forget to be thankful and happy and peaceful. We forget to trust. We forget everything that this year was supposed to teach us. So we celebrate too much, there becomes an issue. So now we stepped into this energy of making a choice. And this choice is for birth partners because this choice revolves around union. This choice revolves around not only union with your partner, but union with yourself and union with divine and union with your purpose. You have to make the choice if you want to do that, or if you want to go back to being unhappy and unsure and unsettled. And though it seems like an easy decision, it's not easy for a lot of us because we forget what that feeling was like when we were in it. We forget those energies. We know it was bad, but we can't remember exactly what it was. It's like sometimes when moms give birth, there's a certain chemical that's released in your brain when you see your baby that makes you forget the pain of childbirth. You know it was painful, but you can't quite remember just how painful it was, so you end up doing it again. Well, not to say that you shouldn't have babies. I love babies, but there's this same type of reconciliation. Do you want to be in union with your karmic Divine Masculines, or do you want to be in union with your Divine Feminine? Figure it out. Divine Feminines, do you want to be in union with the new people that have stepped into your life in your Divine Masculine stead? Do you want to be in union with your Divine Masculine even though he's put you through a lot? These are real decisions. And in that, something you thought finished bursts back into life. Whatever ended then, back in February, you see it. Back in February, something you had to say goodbye to for now, it's coming back and resurging this month. It's a resurrection for you. So for some of you, religion. For some of you, relationships. For some of you, friendships. For some of you, partnerships, jobs. Especially being this deep into COVID, for a lot of people, their jobs are calling them back. Hey, you want to come back in December? Do you want to come back in December? Do you? Or you want to go somewhere new? Or for some of you are somewhere new and you're still thinking about, should I go back to that old job? Should you go back to that old job? Should you go back to those old people? Should you go back to old pains? Should you go back to old ways of thinking? Should you go back to old patterns? Should you go back to... Now, I don't have these answers for you because they're personal to each and every last one of us. They're part of our path and our purpose. So there's not one right answer. It's not, nope, ditch everything that's old and come back to the new. Because for some of you, that old stuff is going to be necessary for that next leg of the journey in 2021. And for other people, that old stuff is exactly what's inhibiting you come 2021. So these are personal decisions that you have to make. So stepping into December, the oppositions are being cut off. The naysayers are being kicked out. The karmics are being dismissed. And you're stepping into this energy of encouragement. You can do it. You have the patience to do it. You have the tools to do it. You have the insight to do it. You have the rituals to do it. You have the offerings to do it. You have the happiness to do it. You have the joy to do it. You have all of this work that you've done and you've manifested through the rest of 2020 to get through 2020 December time and make it into 2021. And this is when family is going to come into play, opinions. And some of you, it's going to be judgment. Some of you, this is going to be resolving family issues. And for that, you have to decide if you're going to look into the Akashic records when they open for you. Are you going to look at these downloads, or are you going to dismiss these downloads and close the Akashic records back as if nothing happened? Are you going to close yourself off to all the magic that you've been opened up to and exposed to this year? And we'll get a mini insight into how we're starting off 2021 before I do the full 2021 reading and look at the bottoms of these decks. And I can tell you, some of you aren't making the right decisions. Some of you are making the right decisions. It's going to be up to you, because we're starting off with illusion. We're starting off with talismans. We're starting off with fertility. We're starting off with making choices. That's how we're starting 2021. What side you gonna be on? You gonna live in the illusion? You're gonna lose your talisman? You're gonna X out your fertility and planting seeds for your success? You're gonna make the wrong decision? What are you gonna do? It's sparked right here with this one decision. Are you going to let the Akashic records be open to you and keep those downloads that you've been given all year? Are you going to actually maintain the work that you've been doing all year? Or are you going to say, nah, I'm going back to all that old stuff that wasn't serving me anymore, because it could possibly serve me now. I can maybe make it different now, even though you already know it's not going to be different. You know this. You know your answer already before you even make the choice. Nah, I'm going to stick with this new dude instead of getting with the person I'm supposed to be with. Because the new dude is what my family wants for me, instead of being what you want for you. Because you're not like your family, I can tell you that. If you're here on my page, you're not like your family. You're not. If you've been called to this reading, you're not like your family whatsoever. You have to make these decisions so that when these illusions come to your face, you can use these talismans and skills that you learn to say, you're not blocking my blessings and my fertility. I'm going to have that success. I'm going to have that abundance. I'm going to plant fresh seeds of purity anew so that I can have the things that I want. And I'm going to make the right decision. I'm not going to do this 2020 all over again. 2021 is going to be different for me. But you have to make that decision. I can't make that for you. All right. So, thank you for coming to my TED Talk. But on a serious note, if you need a personal reading about these decisions that you have to make 2020 and going into 2021, for those that don't want to look in the description box, go to my website. You can book a personal reading. They're not fairly expensive. You can also be entered into a drawing to win the November giveaway. I'll also have a December giveaway. So if you can't get into my November time frame, you can get into the December time frame. But I'll be working all weekend. So go ahead, all my information right there. Or you can look in the description box below and just go directly to the website. That works better for you. But at the end of the day, love, light, and blessings to you. I hope to see you in a future reading. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe so this message gets out to the people that it needs to get out to. Because there's a lot of people, and it may not be you, but there's a lot of people struggling, and a lot of younger people struggling at that. And then there's a lot of older people that are also struggling. But a lot of younger people are struggling because they're afraid and they don't know where to look for answers. So be that beacon of light and share to as many people as you can. Like it so people know that this video is legit. Subscribe. If you're new, come on and stay. Go ahead and subscribe. And I'll see you in a future video.